Hello viewers, it's a beautiful day and you are watching Hope Channel Zambia media that changes lives. Thank you so much for joining us on our show Hope Live that comes to you every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. I am your host Mwene Mianga, and Bright Sinkozi will be joining me later as we go in the conversation. We are discussing quite a number of things today, and you'd be interested to learn that we are going to be talking about the Hope Channel Day that we are going to be having this coming Saturday at Ramoth Gilead SDA Church, as well as the discussion on why a cappella music deserves the spotlight. And finally, we're also going to be discussing Edgar Lungu's final salute, who should lead the tribute. This is an open story, an open secret. You know what is happening in the country. The president died on the 5th of June and he's not yet been buried because of the embassy that is surrounding his funeral, and we are going to be discussing all those things. But to get started, we are discussing the a cappella music, and in the studio I'm joined by two beautiful and interesting guests who are going to lead us into that. You know, especially in the Adventist sector, that the a cappella music has been at the heart of Zambia's gospel. A cappella music in the SDA church especially, and despite the spiritual and the impact that it has, and it's growing, there's a lot of popularity. Many a cappella artists are not as recognized as other musical people, and so they move on, they do their best, and they invest their time, their resources, their talent, their money, but they're not as recognized as other music genres. And so we are going to discuss something that is about to change the narrative, and it's called the Zambia A Cappella Gospel Music Awards, or ZAGMA. You may have heard of this name. Well, today is this opportunity when you're going to learn more about it. And remember, you can send your questions, your contributions to 0976-151517, or you can send us a message on our Facebook page as well as on our YouTube channel, Hope Channel Zambia. Like I said earlier, I'm joined by guests from ZAGMA who are going to help us unpack what this Zambia A Cappella Gospel Music Award means. Guests, you are welcome. I'll start with Mr. Mwansa. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, our viewers.
Thank you. And I also have Mr. Evans Mulwe, if I got your name pronunciation correct.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So these are my guests from ZAGMA, and they are going to help us unpack or understand what this movement per se is all about. So maybe we begin from the basics. Mr. Mwansa, what led to this vision? What inspired the creation of the Zambia A Cappella Gospel Music Awards?
Thank you very much for that question. And maybe before I answer, just some special thanks to Hope Channel for giving us this platform to talk about this initiative. So this initiative is coming from a backdrop where we've realized as a team that there's a lot of talent out there as far as a cappella music is concerned. And in as much as it is not talked about, it's not promoted, most of the singing that goes on in the church circles or in the gospel circles is a cappella music.
Yeah.
There's a lot of also ignorance around it, and sometimes even apathy. So we had to sit down and, come up with a platform where we can celebrate the singers, we can celebrate the artists who are doing a cappella music, but not only do that, we also want to add value to what they are doing, because some of these cappella musicians are so talented. They need skills, they need information. So we are trying to create a platform where we can bring them together and also bring professionals who can add value to what they are doing by sharing information, by also sharpening their skills so that they can be good at what they do. But if you look at it from afar, it's a platform where we will recognize talent and promote talent, and in a nutshell also do some value addition to whatever the a cappella artists are doing.
Interesting. Was there a specific moment in the industry or gap that made you say, I think this is it, we must do this for the a cappella music industry?
Yeah, sure. So we are not the only group that is promoting a cappella, maybe to start with. You've seen that whenever there are awards, they will usually put a segment for a cappella music, but
Yeah.
it's so insignificant.
I know, right?
You know, they will just maybe come and say a cappella gospel song of the year,
Yeah.
and people
And
vote.
say, sure.
So we had to explore that niche and, you know, think to say, what can we do to bring out? Because you see, there's a lot that happens in a cappella music. For example, we have people who compose a cappella music and they are not known. For your information, I bumped into some people who have done a whole hymn book of a cappella songs, you know, but they don't have a platform, you know, for them to be recognized.
Yeah.
We have got people in rural areas who do traditional a cappella music. You see, gospel music is so diverse, and I think we worship a God of diversity. There are people in rural places who have got the talent, they do nice a cappella music, but it has not been explored. So we want to explore that niche, like I said, and bring out this talent that is out there and bring it to the limelight, so that when the awards are being conducted, we are not featuring a cappella music like just one of those, but it should be the main thing, because it's also quite a good style which has to be promoted and people must embrace it. So that's what is driving us to explore this niche and, you know, let it be known in Zambia.
Sure. To you, Mr. Evans.
Yes.
Coming from what Mr. Mansa has explained, despite the fact that this is a rich and spiritual genre of music, especially in the SDHH, I understand there could be other a cappella singers even away from the SDHH. Despite all these things, why do you think it's been under-celebrated in Zambia?
I think to have a cappella as a popular genre has been something that has not been pushed as much as it's supposed to be pushed by the people that are actually using this genre.
Yeah.
The most dominant space in terms of any genre in the music space, obviously that has been so dominant, is the music that has accompaniment, and it's the most happening even on the platforms. Your DSPs, your distribution platforms are the ones that are pushing more content in lines with music that has got accompaniment.
Yeah.
But then we sat down and we said, why not actually get to a space where we can actually push this as a popular genre? I think the problem that has been there from inception is that there's been fewer people who are believing in pushing this genre onto a different audience or into a different pool of opportunity. I think it's just an issue of also just being well informed.
Yeah.
Also, we believe that the only space this genre can be in is in this particular space. And like what he said, when you look at the awards that have been ongoing, we have a category for a cappella. But if you look into that category, there's fewer people who understand there's actually a category for people who do a cappella. So if you go into that category, the most dominant are the people who are using accompaniment. So I think people are just not well informed, people do not know. But this is why we're here to actually tell people this is very possible and we can make the genre very popular.
Talking about people not being well informed, who must be at the forefront of bringing this to life? Is it the a cappella singers themselves, or do you think the church to some extent has not done due diligence to this kind of genre of music?
I think to answer that, people that are supposed to be in the forefront in pushing this agenda are the people who believe this is very much possible. An idea is birthed, someone else is going to think about it and say, I think this can be done. Then you have a collective of people who feel this can be pushed. Of course, the church is also very important to push this type of an agenda. But I think the situation that we've had is also maybe the people that are supposed to be in the forefront to do quality control. Because music is almost everywhere. It's like having a studio that is doing production. It's almost anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah.
But what actually cuts you off the gray area is the quality control. I think it's us, the leadership, that is supposed to be in the forefront to actually execute the quality of this genre.
Okay. Mr. Mwansa, what's your comment on the church in supporting this genre of music?
Yeah, I think the church has been supportive, though not deliberate.
Sure.
Because I say so, like I said earlier, much of the music we sing in church is a cappella music. But I see a bit of ignorance on most members, not really the church as an organization, because the church has already given us a platform. They don't segregate. You can sing a cappella, you can sing with instruments. The church has given us that platform. But as you go from congregation to congregation, you find that the notion begin to change depending on how people interpret a cappella music.
Yeah.
So when they find people singing, especially, I'll give you an example. When the young people, for example, are singing and they use percussions, you know, where you do drums using your voice, it becomes a problem. But when they sing without doing percussions, everybody will be okay. Exactly. It's like what happens also for those who do instrumental music. If you were to bring a drum set in church, it would be a problem. But if you go and record the same drums, put them on a CD, come and play in church, everyone's okay.
Yeah.
So this is why I was saying this platform, you know, will help also provide information, because it's just lack of understanding. Because what a cappella singers do is basically to imitate what an instrument does, you know, and they use their voices. So it's neither here nor there, it's an issue of understanding. So the church as a body, I think, has given a very good platform for all the styles of music to thrive. But I think there's a gap as far as knowledge is concerned on the members and those who administer, for example, in churches, to appreciate these different styles that are there. Okay. Of course, we can talk about moderacy and all that, but that's probably a topic for another day. But to your point, yes, the church, I think, has tried. There's more that can be done by the singers themselves, and also those people who give this platform in various churches for a cappella singers to minister.
Okay, sure. And talking about this award ceremony, and I know you're Adventist, he's Adventist, obviously. Does this mean this ceremony only belongs to Adventist, Seventh-day Adventist, a cappella singing groups, or it's open to everyone?
This is actually very much open to everybody.
Okay.
I think maybe because the movement has been started by people who are in the Seventh-day Adventist, what we're saying to the people that are actually watching us or seeing us on television or Facebook, we're saying, this movement is open to everybody. This is why we want to make this a popular movement, to recognize the people that are actually doing this genre. Okay. Because when you break down the genre, of course, it's a cappella. But when we begin to break it down, there's jazz. We have people that are doing jazz. Like what he said, if that was done in the church, it would be looked at as in a different way. But what we're trying to say also is just, we're trying to push this agenda to recognize and celebrate everyone.
Sure. Will I be ahead of time if I ask about categories or recognitions that we expect during the award ceremony?
Yeah, definitely. I think you're right ahead of time. But Paul, we can give you some, some hints. Well, we need to recognize, for example, composers, like I said. People who are very good at composing a cappella music. It may interest you also to note that there are sound engineers who are just good at doing or recording a cappella music. You take to another studio, it will not come out the way. Yeah, exactly. Why not recognize such talent? Because these people sit behind the desk. You never get to see them. If they are on an album, they are written in fine print. Why not bring them out?
Sure.
So apart from just recognizing the groups and all, we also want to recognize people who contribute to a cappella music. And it being gospel music, you find that there are a lot of people who've done very good compositions in the past. Some of them are late. These people are unsung heroes. We sing their songs, but we don't know them. So why not bring them together? And not just from the SDA church. We also, like he mentioned, this platform is open to other denominations.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have people in the Pentecostal church, we have people in the Baptist church, CMML, who do very good a cappella music. And the bigger picture for all this, I forgot to mention at the beginning, it's not just for our word people. For us, we're also using this platform to share the good news, which is the gospel.
Sure.
Yeah, in the best way we can. So we'll come back and we'll share with the public because we are going to have the first awards next year.
Okay.
So all the categories are going to be mentioned and you'll get to know them, but at a very high level. Those are the few I can mention.
Okay, and just to get at that, I know the movement is going to be launched on the 27th of July, which is this month.
Yes.
And it's going to be at the government complex, the Lusaka National Museum. What should attendees expect at the launch of this prestigious movement? Mr. Evans.
I think what people need to expect at this launch is more clarity. Of course, the information we've shared today is basically in a nutshell. So we want people to actually come and see what they'll be expecting and get more information about what to see next year when we do actually have the awards being given out. So on this day, you expect to see the performers, the composers. You're going to see more people, not just from our space as Seventh-day Adventist, but also other people from other churches. So we're looking forward to people coming through so they could actually get to know more about ZAGMA.
Okay, so how can people participate if they want to attend?
So to participate, of course, you can get to our page, ZAGMA. We do have all the details there on Facebook. Tickets are only going for 100 kwacha and VIP 500 kwacha. But of course, for next year, all those details will be given for how people can participate. We've had quite a number of people calling and asking me, like, so how do we then participate or be selected for this? The 27th is giving you more details on how you will participate for next year.
Okay.
Yes.
Sure. You've answered my next question. Mr. Mwansa, you mentioned during the time that we had a press briefing over the upcoming launch of the ZAGMA Award, you appealed for both financial and moral support from the public. What kind of support are you hoping to receive, and how can individuals or organizations be part of this movement?
Sure, thank you.
How can individuals or organizations be part of this movement?
Sure, thank you for that question. Indeed, we need a bit of support because, as you're aware, this is a non-profit making organization, and the support that we need, one of them is financial support. We are happy there are some corporates that have expressed interest. A few of them have come on board, but we need more.
Okay.
And also for people who may have ideas, because this platform is not just for us. We wanted to make it, as like you called it at the beginning, it's a movement. And for it to succeed, we need everybody. So those of you may want to contribute financially, again, like Evans mentioned, you can visit our Facebook page. The details are there. Get in touch with us. We'll be very happy to partner with you. For those of you who have got ideas on how we can run this, we'll be very happy, because there is power, in doing things together. So we really look forward to working with different people without losing sight of the vision.
Sure. And as we wrap up our interview, I know most people associate awards with competition. How do you ensure that ZAGMA is going to promote unity, ministry, and growth, rather than people seeing it as rivalry and competition, especially among the a cappella music makers?
Interesting. I expected you to ask that question.
I was definitely
But I'm
going
sure
to
you've
ask.
asked that question on behalf of a lot
Yeah.
of people. So we are not really trying to make singers compete. And
Sure.
those people are trying to frown on this idea because they think the spirit in which is going to be set up will not promote unity, but competition. But look, everything that God has given us, including our talents, He expects us to improve them. Okay? We are not trying to put groups, you know, and then pitch them against each other and say, okay, you go now and compete.
Yeah.
I think this is more organized than even the what do you call them, the auditions. Because when you go for auditions, they'll tell you we have one slot, all of you have to compete for that slot. So you go to practice with a view of competing. But for this platform, singers will continue doing what they are doing because they don't know in which category they are going to be nominated. And also the people who are going to be nominating them are independent of these groups. So it's people sitting, you know, away from what you're doing and recognize that, hey, there's something happening there. How can we appreciate that? That's the spirit. So we want to look at those people who are doing whatever they are doing in their cappella circles, and then bring them to light to the people to say, there are these people are doing this, these are the songs they are doing, these are the composers, and let's recognize them. So it's more on recognizing and celebrating the talent that God has put in these people rather than making them compete. Really, we don't want to go in that space of people competing. We just want to appreciate them. Because, you know, when you appreciate people, then they are going to do more.
Definitely.
And you never know, from this platform, some of them may receive international recognition. We are opening doors for them, you know, to go to places they never thought they could go. And also the knowledge that we'll be sharing is more than people saying, oh, you sang a very good song, it came out #1. But of course, after that recognition, what singers do with that fame, you know, we can't control. But it being, you know, it having some religious connotations because it's about gospel music, we don't expect singers to start behaving, you know, like, you know, they are secular musicians who are doing it for money. This is not for money. We just want to appreciate you and encourage you to keep going.
Sure. And to you, Mr. Mulwe, I remember when Zagma was just coming up, especially on social media, there was a lot of backlash. I remember those photos that were shared trying to appreciate people who are making a contribution in this music thing. How's it going now? Are people trying to get the picture, or they're still a bit indifferent to this movement?
I think with that issue that took place at that particular time, it's an issue of just people understanding what we're trying to say. Like he put it, to recognize somebody, we're actually celebrating people. And to celebrate people is going to bring into this space quality. It means that when we identify a specific individual in what they're doing, I'm not saying they're not doing good. It actually just makes you even to actually be, you know what I mean? Like be proud of what other people are actually doing, and you are doing better. Like what he said. I believe that together, everyone achieves more. So when we identify one person, everyone is moving in that direction.
And finally, as we conclude, where do you see Zagma in maybe 5 years from now? Do you envision it to be growing into a national or even a regional program or recognition?
Yeah, first of all, in the first 2 years, we would like it to go to be known in all the provinces in this country, because we want participation from all the 10 provinces of this country. We've received interest from other countries, our neighboring countries, musicians from there who want to be part of this. That is the next step. In phase 2, we might want to see how we can collaborate more with our colleagues from the neighboring countries. Then 5 years and beyond, we can see how we pick it up from there. But we would like it to be a popular platform supported by even, you know, big organizations, not just, you know, corporates, but also the organizations that government has put in place to support music, because we have to work with them. So the vision is big, but would like to move one step at a time. Yeah, so we're really looking forward to its launch next year, and then we pick it up from there.
Okay, sure. Before I let you off the hook, Mr. Evans, anything to say?
My last words are that to everyone that is seeing this, we are inviting you to actually be a part of this movement. I think for this thing to actually work out, it requires the people. And without you people, this is not going to move. To everyone that is willing to support, to everyone that is working hard to improve, this is your platform.
Sure. Mr. Mwansa?
Thank you. My last words will be to those people who are skeptical about the idea, and especially my colleagues who don't like a cappella music because of whatever reason. We need you on board. We need that other voice, because it will help us move in the right direction and also support the singers. But don't shun away, or don't stay away from this idea, because if that voice is given its prominence when we are having these events, you may not know what knowledge you may provide to the singers and also help them, to grow spiritually. So you could be running away from helping the young people who are doing a cappella music, and also the old. So we need everybody. Those voices you are speaking, or which are being said out there, we need them inside, because we are one family and we have to work together. Otherwise, to Hope Channel, thank you for this platform.
Sure.
We really look forward to more collaboration.
Definitely.
We don't take your invite for granted.
Definitely.
Otherwise, thank you very much.
Sure. Right, thank you so much for coming. I have been talking to ZAGMA officials, the Zambia A Cappella Gospel Music Award officials, Mr. Blessed Mwansa, as well as Mr. Ivan Sumulwe, who are just highlighting what ZAGMA is all about. It's being launched this month on the 27th at the Lusaka National Museum. Tickets are only going at 100 kwacha. This is the first ever, if I may say, music award that is going to recognize the efforts that a cappella music creators are making in this music. So they are going to be recognized in various categories, not just the singers, but the composers and much more. And I'm sure we are going to get all those details on the 27th. So we are hoping to see you right there. Just now we take a short break, and when we come back, Bright is going to be joining me as we continue with our discussion. Stay tuned.
Area where Hope Channel Zambia is planning to conduct Hope Channel Day here at Rockview University.
My name is Ken Mudenda, a student at Rockview University, a member at Ramat Gilead Public Campus Ministry. I'm excited to invite you on the forthcoming event of Hope Channel Day, starting on the 11th and 12th this coming week. I'm inviting each and every one of you to come and join us in our worship. We are going to have many activities that will be happening on that day. There will be baptism, poems, songs, and many other activities that you can think about. So remember to invite your friend, and that friend should invite the other friend.
So we are very delighted that Hope Channel Zambia is worshiping with us today as a way of preparing for the next Sabbath Hope Channel Day, where we intend to have an evangelistic program to witness to the community around, and also to capture students that are coming to join Rockview University, because when young people go to a new place, they may be overtaken by so many things that may distract even their focus on academic issues, spiritual matters. So where the Lord guides the young people, they will resharpen their future. And it is our hope that this will be a great day when we can capture a good number, so that many people will be blessed by Hope Channel Zambia on 12th July 2025. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Pastor Lina Chatambuza, Midlands West Zambia Conference Women and Children Ministries Director, and I'm here to invite you to a program that has been organized by Hope Channel Zambia, which is Hope Channel Day, starting from Friday, Vespers and Sabbath worship, and we are going to be at Ramoth Gilead SDA Church, and everyone is welcome. coming from Lusaka, coming from around all the places, so that we can come and be divinely inducted into God's family. And we are going to have powerful messages from our speaker, Dr. Chiwena Kabanji. Please don't miss this program.
So the theme for 12th July 2025 is divinely inducted into God's family. And our speaker will be Dr. Chiwena Kabanje, the Hope Channel Zambia Director.
I want to invite you all to this forthcoming program on 12th July, which is Hope Channel's Day. This program will start on 11th, which is on Friday, till Saturday, the whole Sabbath.
Well, that was a very insightful discussion that Mwene had with the team from Zagma Blessed Mansa as well as Evans Mulwe, trying to, create something that ordinarily does not exist. But when we talk about a cappella music, I really need to learn more, because I'm thinking a cappella is just singing without accompaniment, without instruments. Then I know there are those instruments that you make in the from the mouth. What's the whole idea? Do you want to come and now tell us that you can make instruments from your mouth? I really don't know. Yeah, but that's what runs in my mind when we talk about a cappella. But when that was quite informative, and I would tell you that the whole idea of having to recognize and appreciate these people that are us. You also sing a cappella.
I used to, but I think
the spirit is willing.
The spirit
the soul is
willing,
tired,
but the flesh, is tired. We will try to do some other things.
There's a Bemba song which says, Bambi wale kano kwimba atina likota.
So, sir, what are you trying to say?
No, I love the Tonga one, the Dokas one. Tagotoga mulimo tauna mana.
Isn't that the funeral song?
No! I mean, you've knocked off before time.
No, sir, I have not knocked off. I have just gone to a different workstation for the same God.
No, I don't buy that one.
Sir,
I don't buy that one. Let me tell you something. Do you remember seeing the former General Conference President Ted Wilson singing when he came to Zambia? I
don't remember. I remember at Heroes.
Yes.
Yeah, I do remember with some other gents.
Yes.
I remember that day at Heroes Stadium. Yes.
He sang.
Yeah, he did. And once in a while, I'll be doing the same, sir.
Did you know a pastor in Zambia that was in active music even when he was in active ministry?
I know of Pastor Mwansa.
Well, not as an individual. He sang in a group, Pastor Mukavila. So you will not pretend.
Sir, listen. The time you will be in the district, you will kiss goodbye to Golden Focus. Mark my words.
I'll sing the chaplain. I will sing when I invite them in the district. But anyway, that's for another time. When he has thrown in the towel when it comes to singing, even before the full album is released.
and actually, we are in studio, sir.
You see, so there is quite a lot that you need to do.
Yeah.
But away from music, the country is still, unfortunately, grappling with a moment that is yet to be closed, a chapter that is yet to be closed. The former president, the immediate past president of this country, died, and since then his remains have not yet been interred. An indication that tells you and me there is quite a lot that has to be resolved.
Definitely.
We did say on this platform when the whole story changed.
Yeah.
From the body not coming to not being buried in South Africa because of the court injunction.
Yes.
And this time around, we are waiting. We don't know when. We don't know how far it will drag. But as things are showing, it can only be August or beyond August. But then there is a gentleman who said, President Hakainde Hichilema is the next of kin to the late former president when we talk about politics. Now, I have to make it sure here that we are not discussing politics. This is a national matter that affects the entire country and not political players, but also the church, where Hope Channel Zambia falls, is equally affected.
Sure.
And you will not really conclude and say this is a political discussion. As a matter of fact, on this particular platform, we do not discuss politics, we discuss issues, and that's the reason why you've seen over time that the guests that we bring are not those that are politically inclined. They are national issues. And we said when we launched this program that what we are doing is to bring out issues that affect the nation.
Yeah.
Both in scripture as well as outside scripture. And that's the reason why we are a media house. We need to remain relevant to the society that we serve, and hence such discussions would come. Amiteji Mumbwali, an activist, joins us, and as a matter of fact, he's the gentleman that said President Hichilema is the next of kin to Edgar Lungu. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
We're excited to have you on the program today.
I'm quite excited to have you interview me.
Great. How have things been? I know you in the civil space and advocacy space. A lot is going on.
Yeah.
And this also issue that concerns the pending burial of the former president is also another issue. But how are things generally moving from your end?
Well, things are all right. But as you put it, I think this time we should have been talking about who should be the next Edgar Lungu, because this has been the president and there was a lot to learn from him. And people that admired his leadership and people that were inspired by him, by now could have been talking about how can they also be like him and how can they do better. But unfortunately, we are still talking about him still being decided whether to be buried in Zambia or in South Africa. So this is an awkward situation for the country. We are a mourning country at the moment, but we are failing to define how we should mourn, even when we have mourned before.
Well, it's quite heavy. I heard the president this morning, when he met the American ambassador to Zambia, saying he hasn't made any movement outside the country because he still is looking for a day when the former president is finally put to rest. And maybe that also says why he was not on the copper belt, why he was not in Southern Province for all these other activities. But you are on record recently to have said President Hichilema is the next of kin to Edgar Lungu politically. I would want you to explain what you meant by that. Was this just symbolic, or do you believe it also it also has a constitutional grounding?
Well, I said President HH is the next of kin to Edgar Lungu. I meant it.
Okay.
And I'm on firm ground because, you know, when you're on earth, there are areas that dominate your life. If you choose to be a Christian, sometimes you even ascend to become the leader of the church.
Right.
So if you choose to be a politician, you actually ascend to the highest office of the land. So politically, the ranks and files, if you look at them, you realize that at the time that Edgar died, there was a living former president in him, and also we had the incumbent, HH. These are the only two people that had occupied the highest office of the land. So politically, maybe let me take you to the natural science.
Okay.
When you say someone is the next of kin, we mean that one was a blood relation,
Yeah.
or someone who we think was close enough to you, and then they can take over your affairs when you are incapacitated. they'll make a decision. They'll say, what next? Now that Bright is not there, what should we do? I should be the one to answer because I'm the next of kin. So in the political science, which is a social science, you realize that the ranks and files, it is only HH, it is only Edgar that attained that highest office. And so when Edgar dies, who is going to pass an announcement? Because this is a state person. The person who's going to say something about his death is going to be the incumbent president. Because that guy was in cabinet as the boss of the cabinet. And the next boss of the cabinet now is HH. And so when a former president dies, that one becomes a state funeral. So how do we have a state funeral without the incumbent playing a role?
But by implication, are you trying to say only President Hichilema has authority to decide how President Lungu should be mourned?
Not really how he should be mourned, but what has been the practice. Okay? When you die as a former president, we declare a state funeral. Who does that? It is only the incumbent president who is going to announce that. He's the one who is going to say, we have this period for mourning. He's the only guy who is going to say, we want to lower now the flags to be at 1:30. Why? Because we have a state funeral. He's the same guy who is going to say, now we end it. He's the same person who is going to command, okay, the army to continue with the processions of the funeral. And this is the guy who has the powers to actually host the international visitors who come to Zambia. So when the incumbent has a state funeral, he's mourning with us. He's representing the whole country. So imagine if there's a funeral here, and then the other country hears about the funeral. The president in the next country will listen to say, what is the president in that country saying about this funeral? That's why now they'll believe, say, oh, actually it's true that this person has died because even this man has either invited me or I'm going because he's mourning. So this guy is the right person who is going to be called the next of kin in political affairs, in political life, in issues of democracy. He is, because you know what? The problem people have is that we want to individualize the institution. This is presidency we are talking about. When the former president dies, the president has to do something, has to announce everything.
Exactly. This whole issue is surrounded by a number of surprising outcomes, I would say, because to start with, it took longer before the president could even pen down something on his Facebook page. And later, when it dragged for so long, the president said there was a back and forth in terms of getting information from the family until when the children finally went on media that he was able to conclude and say, well, it happened, and so we'll take it since it's the children that have said what they have said. But further on the issue of the barrier and all that, you discover that there was a lot of all this information that was coming through to indicate that the late had wishes and he needed to not to see. The person you are saying is the next of kin.
Yes.
By virtue of him holding the power to the presidency, since it's an institution. And when you look at that, let's factor in your understanding about the power of the presidency in national ceremonies like the state funeral versus the wishes of the family, the wishes of the person who died.
Okay.
How do we harmonize that in line with your line of reasoning?
Yeah, so the first thing you should notice is that the former president deserves a 21-gun salute. And who can command that? It is the incumbent president. And this is actually what we defined ourselves like. Edgar Lungu is a former Minister of Home Affairs. Edgar Lungu is a former Minister of Justice. Edgar Lungu is the former president. You see that? So this guy, whichever way you look at it, he deserves a state funeral. And this is the person who's going to lead by announcing when we should mourn and for how long.
Against his wishes?
Not really against his wishes. What do you thought? So, Edgar was actually also the former secretary of the UPND government, which is in power. So in all angles, you realize that this gentleman deserves some dignified funeral. You know, we need to do that big salutation of the 21, the one which can only be commanded by the president. Now, when you come to the wishes, you see, wishes of a dying person should actually have collaborative evidence. Because I can manipulate, because a dying person or a dead person has no defense. He can't defend himself. So it should come from the person that we credibly trust, that yes, this is the wish of a person who has died. So the question is not really at the moment whether he wished, but the question now is, where is that wish? Who was given that wish? When you leave a will, you leave it with either your lawyer or maybe with a religious leader or any institution that is of credible standing in society. Now, we'll give it a benefit of doubt, because after all, the person who announced the wishes of the president is a credible man, because he's a lawyer by profession. He belongs to an institution of integrity. He is trained to tell the truth in court. So we presumably presume that he told us the truth. But then, even when he has told us the truth, there's conflict of interest, because he's an active politician who might be serving in the interest of his own politics or in other people's interest. So we want to establish the wishes of the president who died. But now the question is, Brother Bright, according to what we were told, the wishes of the president, there are key issues. He says, I wish to be buried in Zambia. Okay? The former president. Before you even go to the second wish, you start thinking, where else would you have wished to be buried, if not in Zambia, the country that you ruled? The second wish is that I wish that the particular person should not be close to my body. Okay? So these are key statements. Now, he wishes to be buried in Zambia, but we see the family insisting to bury him in South Africa. And then you wonder that, are they breaching his wish also? Or is it because his wish was too difficult to attain? Why is he not buried in Zambia if the wish matters? Second thing is, this person says, I don't want this person to be close to my body. You know, for me, if I'm arguing, I'll say, by what measurement, by what distance, how far should you not be close? Because South Africa is already closed. KK International Airport is already closed. The embassy park there is already closed. So how far should you not be close? Or did he wish that he should be buried in another continent? Because that would be further than where this person is actually. It's his dwelling place. It's like you, Mr. Sinkos, I am in your yard and I live, I'm part of your family. And then when I die, I say, bury me in his yard, but I don't want him to be close. But this is your yard. So why should I be buried in your yard and not be close to you? Is that possible? So this is why you find people questioning the credibility of his wishes and the attainability of his wishes. Are they attainable? So maybe away from that, we believe that what the lawyer McCabe told the nation is the truth. Okay? But then what is the way forward? We follow what has been our practice. We have the embassy park there. We have also the burial site act, okay, which states where former presidents and presidents should be buried. And we know that we also have a guideline for our ceremonial burials, which means that we need to follow what has been done and precedented before. It is not really a crime not to follow the guidelines. It is actually a moral issue. You do something that is immoral, that the community was expecting you to do otherwise and do it the other way. And the punishment for being immoral is shaming. People just laugh at you, just talk about you, embarrass you so that you are shamed. There's no one who's going to be taken to police for deciding to bury the president also. Why? Because it's not a criminal offense. It is just a standard that we made for ourselves. So we are insisting
only because we want to promote, to sustain a legacy that has been already put in place. Because if I'm hearing you, constitutionally speaking, there is no stronger voice there, apart from the guide that you referred to as an act which ordinarily people are saying that shouldn't be the basis, because anyway, and you want to agree with us here that even the family insisting to bury in South Africa, they are saying there are some things that were not followed as it should be, because they feel the agreement was not honored as on the government side after what was already done. And by this now, we find ourselves in a situation where we can't bury in South Africa as things stand, we can't bury in Zambia.
Yeah, so this is where there's a problem, because the burial procedures and guidelines is not law, okay? It's a practice which you set as a trend as a country. How do we mourn? There's no law that defines how it should be mourned, okay? But there's a practice. You know, a funeral is believed to be a solemn time where people just agree anonymously. I think let's do this. I think this. You know, when you're talking about moral practices or expectations of the society, it's not like it is stipulated, it is written. Sometimes you have observed, even during other ordinary funerals, you see you're about to do something, someone will come and scratch your back. No, you're not supposed to do that, because you know it's a practice that is transferred to another generation and another generation. It's not like it's a standard and it's written and you follow, you have to stick to it. No, it's about what you agree at that time as a community, as a society, what is normal according to you.
That's where the problem is.
So this is exactly where the problem is. But then, you know, this is a person who was followed by a lot of Zambians. The people voted for him to be the president. Then they decided, no, after now he has gone, the next person who vote to be a president is President Hakainde Hichilema. So these people who voted, they are saying, now we want to mourn our president. But then you tell them, you go and mourn elsewhere. Okay, if I had a suggestion, I would say, can we have him be mourned here? Be brought here and laid in a state, so that people go view, and those who have wishes, those who have prayers, those who want really to mourn traditionally, they do it. And then the family now negotiates, say, we wish to bury him outside the country after all the whole ceremony has been done, because no one will ask.
Precedents that,
there is precedence.
The first president of this country wished he should be buried next to his wife.
Absolutely.
That did not happen, and all that. But in the interest of time,
yes, sir.
Your sentiment to say President Hichilema is the next of kin,
absolutely,
it's very valid, and I think from what you've already established here, your opinion really is on firm ground.
Yes.
But then, under the given circumstances, what should we do to ensure that we bring an end to this embassy that the country is currently gripped with? We might choose to move on, but ordinarily we wouldn't, because we still have a pending issue that requires us to do, which is burying the former president.
Okay, let me make one first thing clearer.
Okay.
You see, when we talk about the Constitution, the Constitution is made by people, and then it has intention to cure a certain situation. So when our law in the Act indicated that we have a burial site for presidents, which is the Embassy Park, the intention there was to imply that we have a designated place where we expect the presidents to be buried.
Yeah.
Even when if I were to be the president and another person dies in the capacity, I will need, by conscience and by reference to that I need to bury this person at the
Embassy Park.
Because that is what the wish of the Zambians is in their written documents. So the question is, what do we do? That's your question. What do we do from now? The only thing you can do now is just to wait what the family is going to decide, because they are the closest in terms of natural science.
No, the issue is currently in court.
Yes, so we will wait, and then the outcome of the court is going to determine what will happen. Because even when the court decides, it's not going to impose that, whether you like it or not, you have to bury this place.
But for you as an activist, what do you wish should be done?
What I wished is to respect both the family and the cabinet, because Edgar Lungu was the president of the country and he occupied the highest office of the land. And we have a decorum, we have a system, we have guidelines that define what should be done. So we should by all means avoid to politicize the death of this person, the funeral of this person. And I also remember that you asked me to say, why did you expect the Patriotic Front to respect the president? It's the right thing to do. To respect, because we are going to define the direction of a country. A country that has a leader should have a direction which is influenced by that leader. So if people do not respect the president, why do we have him there? Why should we vote if we intend not to be governed? So when we vote, we are trying to say we want you to govern us. As long as we are the majority, it means that we are saying we are going to believe in what you are going to tell us as a direction. So respect means to respect democracy. We shouldn't actually look at the individual. We are looking at the presidency, the office. So if we have an office in leadership, which is presidency, let us respect it. If we are going to be democratic and if we are going to be morally upright people in the country, that's the right thing to do. This is why we demand for respect. So for me,
unfortunately, for you?
For me, I would like us to respect the family, also respect the position of the government, and the two just need to agree what should be done.
They have
no one
failed.
should force
To
their
this
own.
moment, they have failed.
Yeah, but there's still time, because
still time.
it seems everyone is still willing to extend, the time.
Unfortunately, Mr. Mumbwali, time does not allow us to continue. I know Mwene needed to ask something.
No, I wanted to make you a guest because I had one question for you.
For me?
Exactly, sir. Why does this? What does this mean? Let me ask the guest. I'll spare you. I'll spare you, sir. What does this mean to the Christian community? I know there's this indifference of thinking we must hold ourselves and not be able to talk about certain things like this when it's affecting the country in which Christians like you and I belong to.
Thank you so much. Christianity is not a theory. It's a practical faith. And we live in the world of death and life and challenges. So we have a role to play. Even in this death of the president, cabinet has a role, the church has a role.
Sure.
So church is supposed to give hope to the people that have lost hope. This is the opportunity to talk about resurrection. This is an opportunity to talk about faith in the Lord and in Jesus who died and resurrected. So if we don't talk about big deaths like this one, we are missing the opportunity to talk about the big resurrection, so that people are sure that after law, beyond the grave, there is hope.
Sure.
So even when this sounds political, there are people that are depressed, there are people that are devastated because of this death, and those people will depend on the church. So the church should use this time to talk about hope, talk about the resurrection, talk about Jesus, to talk about the love for one another, to talk about even helping the people that are mourning, because the Bible says it's better you go to the house of mourning than to a party. So we have this opportunity to trust in the Lord and also to show the faith in the Lord as a church.
For a moment, you sounded like a preacher.
I wish to be one. I'll be like you.
Mr. Mumbwali, thank you so much for coming through the program. Unfortunately, when the time does not allow us to go on, we are ending here for today. But just as we are ending, this Friday and Saturday, Hope Channel Zambia will be at Ramoth Gilead Church. It's a church under Rockview University in Mungole. So if you are in that area, please come and worship with us. It's going to be a very so uplifting moment.
Definitely,
that we're
so
going to have as Hope Channel Zambia. But just in case you're far away from that area, well, Hope Channel Zambia brings the proceedings live on television so that you are able to follow through and be blessed. We end here, man.
Sure. Thank you so much, our viewers, for sticking around. We discussed the ZAGMA. We discussed also this issue that's been here for some time, the final salute of our former president, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu. And in one way or another, whether we accept or deny it, we are affected with whatever is happening. And so we need to come together and find an amicable way of sorting things out. Thank you so much for tuning in to Hope Channel Zambia. Hope starts right here. Until next time.